Welcome back. My name is Jake McDonald. I am Anything Lacrosse, and this is a game that never sits still. I just want to give a quick thank you to everybody who supports me and follows me. I've been getting a little bit more traction going, and I'm really appreciating everybody who takes the time to listen to this stuff, because it's just some guy in front of a microphone. Anyway, also go check out the merch store. I don't like to push that too hard, but I don't have any sponsors, and I would love to sponsor my son's lacrosse team, buy their jerseys and all this stuff coming up in the spring, so hoping to use that merch store money for that. Anyway, with that all being said, today we've got obviously a recap episode. We're going to recap the weekend and go over the two games. There were only two games, unfortunately. Now, if you could have two games, those are the two games you want, to be honest with you. We had Halifax versus Oshawa Friday night, which I went and seen in person, so great experience. And then we had Saskatchewan versus Calgary, which was obviously Saskatchewan took over right away, and then Calgary had an amazing comeback. So we'll be talking about that, how everyone looked there, as well as I want to touch on some broadcasting issues that were going on Saturday. There were a little bit of broadcasting issues or microphone issues at the beginning, so we'll touch on that. And then I'll be doing like just my normal weekly awards, who stood out to me, all that kind of stuff. So stay tuned for that. So it's going to be a little bit of a condensed episode because it is only such a short. There's only so much to talk about here with these two games, and there only being two games. Next week, we have a plethora of games. I can't believe we're already into week two, or week two is already over of this. This season, the way it's been shaping up so far, is going to be an absolute banger. So let's get right into this. Halifax versus Oshawa. Halifax home opener right away. I want to talk about, I went to the game. So first off, I got to give my jersey that was won for my jersey contest out to the person. It was awesome. He ended up, he's a season ticket holder. Shout out to Jesse. Or his friend actually won and gave him the jersey because he's the one that invited him in. So really nice gesture on his part. But Jesse was super happy to get it. He got there. Unfortunately, Halifax, again, was this is another kind of missed blunder by the league. They were short on jerseys. They don't have really that many jerseys, so all they had the white ones, which, to be honest, I really wasn't fond of at first, but after seeing them, they actually have really grown on me. I do like them. So anyway, he was able to get, because he's a season ticket holder, he was able to get the jersey signed by the whole team after the game. So very exciting. He's going to hang it up. It's going to be awesome. Couldn't have went to a better fan. So shout out to you, Jesse. Thanks for being so involved in the Discord and getting so many people in there. You deserve it, buddy. So anyway, back to the game though. First experience at a live NLL game was super amazing. Now, I did go to a preseason game at the ILA, which was a special experience. And man, I love the native culture myself. The drummers, it's impressive the way they do that. The art, the style, the heritage, the culture, all that stuff is just amazing. It kind of gives the lacrosse, I think, a little bit of a difference and makes it so much more meaningful for some of these guys to play for anyway. So really cool experience. And also the atmosphere itself was loud, guys. That place was not quite packed to the rim, but pretty much. When I go to hockey games, I usually like to watch center ice, very back of the rink. This all started back in the World Cup of Hockey back in like 2016, I think it was, when they did their tournament in Toronto. My brother got us tickets to North America versus the World, and we sat very center ice, but very top row, and I thought they were the best seats. So when I go to Wildcat games in Moncton, I always sit there. So I figured I'd sit there. Same thing, center, way at the very top of the rink, where I wouldn't be bothering anybody by recording and all that stuff. And when I got up there, I could not see the whole box, like the whole area of play. I could see it, but the far end of the field was cut off. So luckily, there were a few spots down lower. Ended up just moving down a few rows and was able to see that. For future reference, I will never sit any higher than P in Halifax, the P row, because it's just too high up there. So from now on, I'm going to be sitting closer anyway, now that I understand. Or it's a good size rink, but I will say that it feels pretty kind of small in there. And I'm not saying that is a bad thing, to be honest with you. Now, getting in there is a little confusing. I will say it's like a bunch of stairs and wrapping around and all this stuff. So I find Moncton's a little bit easier to kind of figure out, but that's probably just because I'm used to it. As I go to more games, I'm sure it'll get easier. So lots of learned stuff there. Atmosphere was great, like I said. And now let's get right into actually talking about the game here, okay? So the game itself, Oshawa came out hot. They were looking good right off the bat. They were controlling the game for the first few minutes. I would say 4 or 5 minutes, they were really controlling the game. Scored 2 quick goals, and then it turned. And that's kind of what I figured was going to happen. As soon as Halifax got going, Oshawa couldn't do anything. Tyson Bell, I want to give him a huge shout out. That guy is like a defensive coordinator on when he's on the surface, man. He is waving his arms around, pointing to everybody, taking the center, taking responsibility for in front of the net. And I can't wait to see him and Halifax play their defense for the rest of the league, because I can tell you, my God, it's good. Their defense is so good. Warren frickin' Hill, man. So many people were saying he was washed. So many people were saying, Halifax needs a goalie. I've been pretty high on Hill, to be honest with you. But even then, I'm still like, okay, maybe Halifax could look like a team that might need a goalie. Hill, they do not need a goalie if Hill can play half as good as that. It's amazing what that guy did on Friday night. Like, historical night. I think he tied for the record for lowest goals amount ever allowed in the NLL. And again, this has a big, Hill got a lot of praise for this, and he made some really, really big saves. So don't get me wrong, he deserves it. But the Halifax defense also deserves it. And now we can get right into the actual scorers on Halifax. Man, I said Saskatchewan has a lot of guys that can score, which they do. Don't get me wrong. We'll talk about that in a minute. Halifax has a lot of guys who can score, man. Holy cow, dude. They've got so many weapons that you don't know where it's coming from. They've got great transition guys. They are honestly a deep team. When I've seen them play, I was like, this is a championship team. Like, when they made Oshawa look that, I don't want to say this like that bad, but they really just shut them down. Oshawa did miss the net a lot. I will say that. Like, no hate onto either team, but like, I found Oshawa miss the net a lot. A lot of the chances they probably could have had didn't hit the net, and then the ones that did, Hill was there to stop it. So it's a two-tiered thing there, but it was just an amazing game. So 11-2 win by Halifax. So 2 goals apiece in the first, and like I said, Oshawa scored the first 2. Then Halifax woke up. 3 goals, 0 goals, and 3 goals for Halifax in the second, 0 goals for Oshawa in the second, third, or fourth, and then in the third, actually, Oshawa held Halifax off the board. It was a really tight game. It was like a 5-2 game right up till then, and then 6 goals in the third. Now, obviously, I think there was 3 empty netters or something, but still, just fantastic game overall. In the face-off dot, Halifax only lost 2 face-offs, so Oshawa lost everything but 2 face-offs. Now, I thought Halifax was going to win this game for sure, but I didn't think it was going to be this bad. Power plays. Oshawa was 1 for 7 on the power play. Halifax was 2 for 6. Penalty minutes were 16 minutes apiece. And I can tell you right now, there probably could have been more. A little inconsistent with the reffing, I will say, in that one. But when they kind of started to get going, they would kind of throw guys in the box to try to calm everything down. No fights, so it obviously did work. And just a great game overall, though. So we had Ty Kurtz with 2 goals, both goals for Oshawa. Simmons was there, though. I will say that he had a couple that could have probably went in and didn't, and also got called back. Assists. Dyson Williams was 2 for them for Halifax. There was a lot of different scores on Halifax, and then Peterson got 5 assists. Also 6 points for him. Shots on goal. Alex Simmons had 16 shots on goal. So like, there's no lack of trying there. Like, he's out there, and I said this, I don't think he's gonna. You will not see him have this bad of a game, I don't know, ever again in his career, to be honest with you. It was insane. Withers led both teams with 14 loose ball pickups. He's doing what he does, right? Withers does exactly what he does. That's basically what his best attribute is. And I'm not saying that in a bad way. It's just that he's so good at it. He's head and shoulders pretty much above everyone else in the league at loose ball pickups. So yeah, and then we just had Hill's performance, like 49 saves for Hill, 35 to Doug Jamieson. Now, before I go into Hill, I want to shout out Doug Jamieson, because Doug Jamieson had a great night himself, right? Like, he really did. Like, he had 8 goals let in, which is still under 10, which is a good night, honestly, realistically. And then he had 35 saves. So he had 35 saves. So, I mean, overall, you can't really ask more out of your goalie than that. Like, honestly, that's just, I don't find that to be that bad, to be honest. If you're keeping him under 10, you've done your job as a goalie, in my opinion. And Oshawa in general was just not good enough all the way through. So a couple things that stick out to me. Honestly, you had Tyson Bell with the last goal of the game. The empty netter was hilarious. I love that. My kid absolutely freaked out over that because that's his favorite player. Jameson had 4 points, 2 goals, and 2 assists. Randy Stotts, which wasn't even supposed to be there originally, and he came in. Like, I'm talking originally, like he was. They were saying he was going to be out for a month, first month of the season, probably not till the new year. He's already back, put up 5 points, huge night for him. Dawson Theed, which I've almost that guy. I love that guy, man. After watching him in person, 2 goals, and the goals were good. Colton Armstrong with a goal and an assist. Terfenko got a goal as well. Clark Pedersen with 1 goal, 5 assists. Mike Robinson with a goal. Warren Hill, 2 goals against and 49 saves. Just like he had like a 96 save percentage or something. Absolutely ridiculous. Probably, one of the, if not the best game of his career, one of the best games of his career. And, he was just absolutely phenomenal in this game. Like, I was just so happy to see it because of all the hate that I was seeing. Not hate, but like just the doubters that people were doubting him. And it's going to be interesting to see. I know they were talking about doing more of a tandem. If he can play like that every night, there's no reason he's not going to be in. He played amazing. He looked a lot more agile than he was last year, in my opinion, even more so than he was playing in the playoffs of the MSL. Like, he even looked better than when he was in the MSL this summer. So he's looking like he's ready. I think this team is ready for a championship. I think I've said this for a little while, and I know people take it as bias because I'm down here. I'm in Moncton. I don't technically have a team. Like, Halifax is not my team yet. That could change, but as of right now, I'm really trying to stay neutral, and I do look at Halifax like they're a contender, and not only a contender, is I think they're like right there. Like, I think it's their year this year. Them or Saskatchewan, honestly. I'm like right there with those two. Buffalo, I wouldn't count them out either. And then Vancouver, right? Those 4 is what I'm kind of, jumping in between. Those are going to be the final 4, in my opinion, unless something crazy happens. But it's just, when I look at this team, I'm like, damn, they are complete. And the goaltending was the one question mark, and Hill kind of shut down. Now, again, it's only one game, right? But we're going to see. I don't doubt that they're going to come back and win, and Hill's going to play, maybe not to that caliber exactly, but a very high level caliber. I think he's going to be at that 78, 79 save percentage almost like every night. And he has to, if he wants to give his team the chance to win. I want to talk for Oshawa for 2 seconds here. Oshawa needs to be better. Alex Simmons should have got some more points that game. There's nothing to talk about. Dyson, same thing. He needs to be better. Both these guys are supposed to be the young core guys, and they got completely shut down. Jameson's still a solid goalie. This is what I mean when I talk about tiers in this league. When I'm like, these 4 teams, Vancouver, Saskatchewan, Halifax, and Buffalo, are in a different tier than the rest of them. Rochester's kind of right there, I think. And that's what you just seen with that kind of game, because Toronto and Oshawa was a very competitive back and forth game. Halifax is in a different tier than those guys. That's the way I look at it. And when I see a game like that, I'm like, well, that pretty much proves with what I'm saying to be true. So there's just my thoughts. So that's game 1. Halifax up 1-0. And like I said, I'm pretty high on them. I don't think you're going to see too many losses out of them, especially at home there. And their building's amazing. Their atmosphere is amazing. Like, I can't wait to go back. Also, son's first game as well. Sorry. My son's first game as well. I don't know if I mentioned that, but also my buddy. I brought my buddy who's not a lacrosse fan, right? So he just kind of came with me, and he was hyped. Now, he was watching on TV here a little bit, but he's like, it's way better in person. Of course, that's most sports, right? They're way better in person. But he's actually like was asking me like, well, how do I look up this? How do I look up that? How do I keep track of the stats? So he's like a fan now, dude. He's a diehard Leaf fan like me, but he's also just a diehard sports fan. He likes a lot of different sports. And he's like, this is one of the most exciting, electrifying experiences I've ever had at a live sporting event. And that's what I said too. That was more exciting. That game, in my opinion, was more exciting than any other live sporting event I've ever been at. So I'm very impressed with the NLL and what you get for the product you get to watch and the game experience you get to experience. Culture, great game with a great fan base. Like, there's not much more you can ask for that, to be honest with you. So let's move right on to the Saskatchewan game. Now, Saskatchewan, there was a bit of a hiccup with the broadcasting, which I guess I'll talk about now. So I was watching on NLL. I heard a lot of people complaining because I think they were watching on ESPN, if I'm not mistaken, or TSN Plus, 1 of 2. And they were saying how the mics weren't working. Funny enough, it was put in my Discord, and I think it might have been my Discord that they noticed it on, but probably not. Just a little bit of a thing, just a little funny thing there. But I did see it put in, and then somebody put on, and they said they were working on it. So kind of cool to have. Again, this Discord's kind of cool to be in because you do have. There are some really cool people in there, and they might not be in there all the time talking, but they do pop their head in there right quite a bit. So, and I think a lot of times they're, maybe they're popping in and not saying much, but they're still in there. So kind of cool to see, and it kind of shows, helps the league. I think I'm hoping like Discord's helping the league a little bit, kind of get some insight into it and get into their fan bases and stuff like that. So kind of cool little thing there. But and then NLL Plus, not really sure what happened. Still haven't heard about that one. So if someone wants to fill me in about that. But I was watching the first half. It was great. Saskatchewan was up 10-5 going into it, looking really dominant. Calgary, definitely trying to hold in there. And then second half, game never came back on. And I was waiting. Started to refresh it, all that stuff. Finally, I just kind of flipped it off, turned it back on. Eventually, it came back on. There was 8 minutes left in the fourth, so I missed essentially a quarter and a half, which was, when it came back on, it was 13-13. So I missed the whole Calgary comeback, which would have been amazing to see. I'm hoping that some of the Calgary fans that were on there either got to see it live or got to we're watching on TSN Plus or ESPN Plus. But either way, I got to see some highlights after. Also went to look at the stats, and when I started watching again, that Saskatchewan ended up scoring, going ahead, and then getting a couple empty netters as well. So overall, to be honest, Calgary, even giving Saskatchewan that much of a hard time, is impressive by Calgary. I don't think that takes away from Saskatchewan, though. I really don't. From what I've seen, everything I've seen, they looked really good. Sometimes teams can get a little complacent when they're up and they think they're gonna, kill it. And that's the thing, you got to stay on your toes. So shows the veteran presence of the Saskatchewan Rush, right? That first half really cemented them winning. Like Saskatchewan won that in the first half. Without that first half, them being up by 5, Calgary would have beat them. So they did outscore them, and we're gonna see what they look like going into these, playing some teams that maybe aren't as high up or as deep as Saskatchewan is, and maybe Calgary will surprise everybody, including myself this year. But we'll have to wait and see on that one. So quarter by quarter, Calgary got 2 in the first. Saskatchewan got 4. Second, 3 for Calgary and 6 for Saskatchewan. So 10-5 going into the second half. Then Calgary 3-1. 3 goals to Calgary in the third and 1 goal for Saskatchewan. So this is where Calgary's really started to make it up. And then 5 goals in the fourth for Calgary and 4 in the fourth for Saskatchewan. And obviously, like I said, I think Saskatchewan just kind of got a little complacent, and Calgary came out. And they're young. They have a lot of young talent on that team, and they got nothing to lose. So they're going to be in there, and they're going to come at you. So Calgary, it's going to be interesting. I'm a huge underdog guy, so I would love to see Calgary surprise the league. I just don't see it. But I think they have a good fan base over there, and I think that I think I would love it for the storylines, honestly. So hopefully we'll see what happens there. But Saskatchewan's pretty solid. So the fact that they even were able to keep up is impressive. So we have Calgary outshooting Saskatchewan 51-45, and we have face-offs. Calgary absolutely destroyed Saskatchewan the face-offs, 26 to 30 out of 33, and Saskatchewan only won 7. And on the power play, Calgary went 2 for 3, and Saskatchewan went 3 for 6. So really not bad on both hands. And then penalty minutes were 12 for Calgary and 6 for Saskatchewan. So, really, overall, Calgary probably had the better game for the whole time, but Saskatchewan was able to clean it up. Robert Church got 4 goals. Also, Tyler Pace got 3. Austin Shanks had 7 points. What an interview by him after the game. Hilarious. Then you got Ryan Keenan with 5 assists as well. You got Robert Church and Tanner Cook taking 12 shots apiece on the net. You got 19 loose balls for Inacio on Calgary. And oh my God, that is insane. That's even beats Withers, and that's crazy. So, that's I'm always big on that stat. I know a lot of people, I don't know, I always think that's an unsung stat that not a lot of people talk about. And I think it really does. It can change the game. And if you look at how Calgary came back, it was a big piece of trying to get those balls and get possession again. So, and then you got Frank Cheliano with 38 saves. So Calgary was peppering, man. Aiden Walsh with 24 saves You know, overall, this is the thing with Aiden, man. He was looking, when I was watching it, he looked a little bit rough at the beginning, like a little bit shook. I think he let in, 2 for 3 or something right off the bat. So that's not a great start. And, but it is what it is. He's young, and we'll see what happens throughout the season. It's going to be interesting to see how Calgary can make out, and, what's going to happen with them. So I'm going to run through the Calgary's scores. So we got Noah Manning with 3 points, 2 goals, 1 assist. You've got Tanner Cook with 2 goals, 3 assists, so 5.9, good for him. Matthew Gauthier with 2 assists. You've got Kyle Pepper with a goal, which was his first NLL goal, which was really cool to see. Maya with 2 goals, 2 assists, so 4 points. Tyler Pace with 7 points, 3 goals, 4 assists, like I talked about before. And then Hayden Dixon, 3 goals, 4 assists as well. So 2 hat tricks there. Hayden Dixon was another one that I didn't really mention before, but man, did he have a good goal. Did he have a good game? Like, fantastic overall. Just like amazing, dude. Amazing. So Hayden Dixon is going to be a special player for Calgary as well. Then we've got Aiden Walsh, 12 goals against, 24 saves. To be honest with you, that's just not good enough. But again, I think it was more of the beginning of the game, really nerves, all that kind of stuff got to him. You just can't as a goalie. So I think again, Saskatchewan's a pretty hard test to start off the season with, and we'll see how Calgary goes on as the season goes on here. And then for Saskatchewan, we have Zach Mans with 4 points, 2 goals, 2 assists. Mike Messenger with 2 goals, 3 assists. Ryan Keenan with 2 goals, 5 assists for 7 points. Robert Church with 4 goals. Robert Church, I was saying he wasn't a superstar. He's proved me wrong. Allison Shanks, 3 goals, 4 assists. And this honestly might be my new favorite player. I know I said that about Simmons last week, but man, his interview's hilarious. And he's just a guy that wants to go put the ball in the net. Jake Boudreau, a goal and assist. You've got Brock Haley with two assists. Adam J with an assist. Got Levi Virsch with an assist as well. Holden Garland with an assist. Ryan Barnable with an assist. Joshua Zawada with 2 assists. Levi Anderson with a goal and an assist. And yeah, again, a lot of guys who can put the ball in net, right? But Robert Church, there's one that stands out to me because I always he's not a superstar anymore, but I can tell you he still does look like one to me, to be honest with you, by the eye test. And I always do say that. If I had to pick one player in Saskatchewan that I did was my favorite, it would have been Robert Church. But now, honestly, it's probably Austin Shanks. I really like that guy. I think it's hilarious, and he's so good. The Saskatchewan has so many guys that can score. Like, it is scary to try to play against them. And then we had Frank Scigliano with 13 goals against and 38 saves. So honestly, again, obviously you want to try to keep the goals a little bit lower if you could, but really overall, really good game by him as well. When I was watching, he had a good night. Again, I didn't get to see the part where they got a lot of goals, so I can't really speak on that too much. I'm just going based off stats. But overall, Frank looked pretty good tonight on Saturday, in my opinion. So that to me is positive for Saskatchewan. So I know it's still early and there's only 2 weeks, but let's go over the top 10 point getters for the first 2 weeks in the NLL. Now, you think Oshawa would be on here, but they're really not. So we have a 4-way tie right now for first. We have Will Malcolm, Trey LeClaire, Dane Smith, and Robert Hellier with 8 points. And then we've got another 6 players with 7 points in Hayden Dixon, Tyler Pace, Austin Shanks, Ryan Keenan, Andrew Q, Keegan Ball, and Ryan Lee. So that's technically the top 11 right there. So we'll leave it at that. Those are the guys. Obviously, you've got guys that haven't even played yet. Super early, and we don't really need to talk too much about this, but I did just want to keep you guys updated on that. Just give you a little bit of insight on who is at the top of the league right now. And we're going to go with, I want to go over some goalie stuff here too. So Warren Hill has again, this is one game, right? So keep that in mind. But he has a 96.1 save percentage. Absolutely ridiculous, guys. That's crazy. Even Doug Jamieson, though, after 2 games has an 84.7, so that's fine. Dylan Ward, 84.1. And then Nick Rhodes with an 80, which a lot of Toronto fans trashed him for. Christian Del Bianco, still, even after a quote-unquote rough game, he has a 78.3%, so you can't say too much. And then we got Brett Dobson, 75% needs to be better. Frank Scigliano, you know what, 74.5 does need to be better. Matt Vince, 74.4 needs to be better as well. And then Higgins, 74.1 needs to be better as well. So again, I'm big on like you need to get to that 76 at least, but you really need to push your team to that next level. From what I've seen, looking over stats, somebody please correct me if I'm wrong, but I think you need to be at 78, 79 save percentage in order to really consider yourself giving your team a fair chance at trying to go for a championship or anything like that. So you guys let me know what you think about those. But that's just kind of a quick a quick one for you. And so another team I really just want to kind of dive a little bit deeper into is Oshawa here, because the goaltending's good in Oshawa, as we just seen there. Listen to the offense, and to me, I'm as shocked as probably everyone else is, if not more, because I'm especially super high on Dyson, and Dyson's been underperforming. Okay, same as Alex Simmons. All these guys have been underperforming, and they need to try to get it together. Obviously, it's only 2 weeks in. They had back-to-back weeks. They had to travel, all that stuff. But here we go. So Alex Simmons is leading the Oshawa Firewolves after 2 games with 4 points, 2 goals, 6 points, 2 goals, 4 assists. That's not enough. Ty Kurtz, 3 goals, 2 assists for 5 points. Ethan Walker, 2 goals, 2 assists. Dyson Williams with 1 goal, 3 assists for 4 points in 2 games. That's not enough, guys. Tegan Clark with a goal and 2 assists for 3 points. And then you've got a couple other guys with 1 point. There's just not enough top end scoring. There's not enough depth scoring. They have to get it together. They got to figure it out. They got to go home. I don't know if they're playing next week or not. I'm gonna have to look. I haven't done a look into that too much yet, but this has to change, and I do think it will change. Now, I did think they would be in this position at this point, 1-1. I still think they're going to make the playoffs. I really do. I think they're a good team. I think they have a rough start, but they've got to win. If this was 0-2 right now, I think a lot of people would be a little bit more panicked, but because this is a 1-on-1 team, we're okay. So we'll see what happens with that, but important thing, that's the most important thing about this. Every game counts. It doesn't matter what you have to go in and try to win every game. There's only 18 games this season, and so that's why it's so much different than a lot of other sports. It's like the NFL almost, is that every game counts. It makes it that much more exciting. And when you can get a couple early wins together, it really kind of gives your team confidence. But there is so much more to do still. There's so many more games, and there's just still so much runway. Nothing that anybody does is gonna dig them super deep that they can't get out of at this point now. So yeah, and again, just to touch on the broadcasting thing again, like if we want to be considered a major league, we can't let that shit happen. Mistakes happen, but this isn't preseason, this is regular season. And like I said, if you want to be considered a major league, you need to get your shit together. The Brett Dobson situation is honestly funny still too. They were, you had loose mesh guys, and you had Mike Carvelis going at it a little bit over that. I'm kind of sit really centered on this one, to be honest with you. I think I would probably say it's like that. Should he have been game misconducted? That's kind of what's been talked about. I don't know. Honestly, I personally think that it's hard because I cut through his crease, but he was out of it by then. And then, Dobson is just a little animal. So that's just the way he kind of plays. He plays hard. And I think that when goalies get run over, I think when they see an opportunity to maybe, be able to bump a player, they kind of take it sometimes. And that's what I think happened. And I don't think it was malicious at any point. I just think it was more just, one of those things that kind of just happened in the quick. So, just always something interesting in this thing. I always do like player of the week and the goalie of the week and defenseman of the week, right? And honestly, player of the week, goalie of the week is going to be Warren Hill. Just by that performance that he put on was absolutely phenomenal. Like it was insane, absolutely crazy, man. Like I don't know if I'll ever get to see a performance like that from an NLL goalie again. And there's a lot of people that I talk to that aren't lacrosse fans, and they're like, "Oh, goalies don't even do anything in lacrosse." I disagree. That game shows that exactly. So many stoppages when you didn't think it was going to happen. He just seems so much more agile this year. So for that reason, he's going to be goalie of the week. He's going to be my player of the week, and he's the MVP of the week, man. Like he really just locked the net back end down for them and showed that he's a starter. Nobody's taking that away from him. So just ridiculous there. Unbelievable. I'm still in shock, and I can't believe I actually got to see that one in person. So anyway, we got rookie of the week. Rookie of the week. Who the heck is the rookie of the week? So my rookie of the week is going to be Kyle Pepper, man. Kyle Pepper put on a show this weekend. He played, fantastic. I thought overall got his first goal of the game of his young career. And he looks like a solid player out there. He looks like he can hang. And I got to give it to him this week for that one for sure. And defenseman of the week, honestly, I'm going to give it to Tyson Bell. I know that's kind of a little bit biased maybe, but I can tell you maybe it's just because I'm going to give it to him because I was in person or whatever. But the thing is, I got to watch him play without the ball a lot, or not a lot, but I watched him, a few different times in the way he was just controlling the whole defensive end for Halifax, coordinating it out there, and making sure everyone was in the right spots, calling it out as people were coming across. Just really making sure, and I mean, as much as Warren Hill, obviously he really did his job. You can't deny that. You can't deny what Tyson Bell did to help him be able to get to only 2 goals against. So fantastic job by the whole Halifax defense, but especially by Tyson Bell there. I got to give a shout out to him, man. He was just fantastic. All right, so honestly, I know this is a really short episode, but obviously, like I said, there's just not as much to talk about this time, and just with only 2 games. We've got, go follow me on socials, right? At the Anything Lacrosse show on most things, Anything Lacrosse on TikTok, my OG. I go live on there every Leaf game, every lacrosse game that I can. And I also like post 3 times a day on there. Check out the YouTubes, check out the Spotify's, all that stuff for the podcast as you're listening to it on here probably. Discord, go jump in the Discord. It's a really cool experience in there. It really is. We got a lot of great guys in there, and knock on wood, I haven't had an issue yet where I've had to really address. So anything that I've had to address publicly or anything talking to anybody, little tweaks that I've made to the Discord if somebody's tagging people that they're not supposed to or something. But overall, I haven't had to ask or talk to anybody. So it's a really good community in there. Actually, I'm really impressed with it because a lot of times sports communities can be a little bit toxic, and I mean, people are pretty respectful in there. I will say that. So episode 19, we'll be doing, the preview for the next week. I've got a young player that's going to be coming on as well. Thanks for listening. I always enjoy anybody who's still here at this point. So if you are still here, leave me a comment because I really appreciate it. Always leave comments on what you guys want in these videos as well, because I try to put in stuff that you guys would like to listen to. And, I've been trying to do this format where I do one episode like this where I'm just me yapping, and then one episode where I bring a guest in. So I'm probably going to stick to that for a little while, and we'll go from there. But with all that being said, thanks for coming. My name is Jake McDonald. I'm Anything Lacrosse, and this game never sits still. We'll talk to you guys soon. Have a good night.